welcome to Introducing. This is your girl, Smart Video Girl, and you have tuned into another edition of Introducing. I'm so excited. It's like Christmas for me right now. I don't know. All my shows are special, but I feel like I was like so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really I'm like so excited. So so nervous like Christmas is like so I'm really just want to get into this. I really want to bring on my guests, but of course, like I have to do, I'm going to follow protocol. This is introducing I am Smart Video Girl. I'm here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. on the West. Shout out to my Cali people. You can follow me on Instagram at Smart Video Girl. And if you want to send me an email, you can send it to tellemchris@gmail.com. And don't forget, I appreciate everyone who has subscribed to the channel. So make sure you click the little subscribe button, click, and the notification bell so that you can always know when I'm going live. But again, that's 7 p.m. right here on YouTube only. So don't forget to subscribe. And, today I have a very, very special guest with me. And I'm just so excited to bring her on. And as you know, this is our new people segment. Yes, yes, yes. And I have Dr. Kenae Black joining me here on Introducing. Hello, Dr. Kenae.
Hi, Chris. Happy to see you as usual.
I know. Look, we're kindred. I feel like we're just kindred spirits. I really do. And for those who do not know, I met Dr. Kenae at when I was engineering Miss Sharon Lee, the Sharon Lee Briefing podcast with Miss Sharon Lee Parker and Miss Sharon Parker, and she basically had her on as a guest, and she was sharing her story, and she was just, I felt like we lived twin lives. And I was backstage like having a whole conniption fit. So if you guys know I'm really animated, I was backstage like, oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to the green room so I can just share the commonalities, the synergy, which is a theme on that podcast. And just how you were a light, you know what I'm saying? So that is what today's theme is, which is be light. And that is a whole conversation in
Mm,
itself. Let's be light.
right.
Okay. Yes. So I don't want to go too deep into the conversation. I do want the people to know who Dr. Kenae Black is, what it is that you do, and a little bit about your story so they can kind of, understand where you come from. So tell us a little bit about who you are, Dr. Kenae.
All right. That's always a loaded question to me. It's like, what? It's always a loaded question. I think half of the time, because I'm a jokester, I'll just be like, I'm just me. I just chill, but I know I can't
Right.
do
That's
that.
the easy one. Right.
So, um, who am I? I am a mom. Um, I am a wife. I fear the Lord
Mm,
greatly. In the best fearful way possible.
okay.
Nothing negative about it. um,
Okay.
I work for a federal government agency. Have a leadership position there. There, I oversee hiring, learning and development,
Mm,
um, contracts, procurements in the government, performance, awards, like all things operations, if you will.
okay.
I
Okay.
oversee a plethora of operations. Have a phenomenal team. Outside of my primary job, I'm a professor. I love teaching. One of the other things that I have done for years and I love outside of being a collegiate professor is I have taught adult learners, adults who have wanted to go back to school to get their GED and their diploma, reading, English, and writing. So that's like the give back. Like I absolutely love that.
Mm,
Although on a little hiatus from it right now, that is something that I enjoy. I develop people. I help to develop people personally, And professionally, that is something that I really enjoy. Um,
It's okay. It's okay. We're kid friendly around here. For those who know, they know Giovanna. So that was my daughter you met before the show. So they know her here. We're kid
oh, that's
friendly.
Kenan. They're probably around the same age. Um, and um, yeah, so I do leadership,
Hmm.
personal development, consulting on the side. Have a nonprofit, really into like giving back. Most
Hmm.
recently, kind of linking the nonprofit and the leadership and personal development together. Hosted my first wellness retreat called the Will of Wellness. It was all
Yay.
about God's will for us to be well, and that was this past summer. So those are some things. I live in DC now, and I am from Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware.
Hmm.
From the projects, to be more clear, 2-6, affectionately known as. So grew up there, went to school, went to college, and ended up here in DC for work.
That's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So many things that you touched on, the giving back to the community, the inspiring other people to be great, like the motivation of the personal
Mhm,
development, the
mhm.
being a mom, all of that. All of these things. I was in the back like, yes. Those I want to get more into like the personal development and how you do that for people.
Mhm.
But first, I want to ask you, how do you balance or how do you bring to harmony your masculine and feminine energy with all the different things that you do?
Uh, I'm glad you asked that. I think that the important part is to recognize that we have both,
Mm,
and not smother one for the other, or not dim one because of what society thinks we should be like or act
mm,
like, etc. And so I think the awareness part, Chris, for me, and becoming more enlightened that it's okay for both to coexist. Like, yes, I'm a woman. Can I be um, submissive as society requires? Do I have to be? And where do I have to be? Outside of to God, right? And so I think the acceptance piece
mm-hmm,
has been critical for my personal growth and development. But
mm-hmm,
a piece of it, how I balance it, is I've gotten much more introspective,
mm,
um, and literally evaluating like my decision making, how I react to situations. Like, I reacted poorly to one today earlier. I was like, let me fix it, because can't really be the man. So let me balance that. But
right.
just acknowledging and having a bit of self-awareness and a little confidence that I'm okay when I'm more of one and less of the other, and more masculine than feminine too. So
It's okay. Because I think, like, to your point, what you were getting at is kind of like roles. Like, I'm talking about energy. When here, I'm talking about the energy. So I'm not talking about a role. And the energy is what you were talking about, is having that understanding. And
yep,
then how do you use those when necessary?
yep.
That how do
That
you
part.
use them? And when do you use them? When necessary.
Yep. When necessary. When does one
When
switch on, one turn off?
necessary. Right. You have to play that by ear.
Yeah.
But there is a harmony in there. And, I'm realizing that too. And being introspective, looking inside allows you to see what works for you and what doesn't. Because
Yeah.
that's really what it boiled down to for me. So I appreciate your answer. So another question that I have, oh, look at God. Oh, how do you stay positive in adverse situations?
You know what? Generally, Chris, I am generally very optimistic and positive.
Mm-hmm.
The caveat is, with that masculine energy, I can be the total opposite. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how dare you be offensive, right? Or how dare you act like that? So I can be very angry too. I can be the total opposite side, like total end of the spectrum. How do I stay optimistic? How do I stay positive? It's really God. I recognize. I think a lot about what He says in His Word, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge that everything is not going to be good all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
He is good all the time. And so I think that I make it a conscious effort with myself, with my friends, with my loved ones, to find light in, in all situations. I have
Mm-hmm.
to remind them of that light. Excuse me.
There she said it. She said, be the light and see the light in the situation.
Go ahead.
And then just keep your eye on the lights. I want to give a shout out to some people tuning in. It's Money in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. And my sis Pronoia Starseed podcast. Make sure you check her out. Subscribe, like, and share to her as well. She has an awesome podcast. If you are into spirituality and things of that sort, check her out. Okay, check her out. All right. And see, I'm kid friendly around here. Look, I prefer it be you than me. Okay, this is what we do. But see, I can keep it moving. You that's what, I can keep it moving.
You're good.
Keep it moving. But if it was me, I had to stop. We're gonna have to pause the show. Okay, you know, I'm just keeping it, just keeping it real. I just keeping it real. I really how have you learned to listen to yourself? How have you learned to really tap into that in you?
you know, it's I mentioned in light, and I heard you and when I was talking, but I think acknowledging that there is light in everything, right? In the middle of darkness, in the middle of chaos, in the middle of decision making, in the middle of everything, I am super reminded all the time of like the many blessings. Like I ain't supposed to be here. I'm I ain't supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be barefoot and pregnant in the projects, right? And so just being reminded of like what God has brought me through, has brought those I love through, um, even if it's still tough in the middle of storms. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
I make it my point to find the positivity in it, and I do that for everyone in my life.
mhm,
How do I listen to myself? I journal a lot, and I think that I do that as a practice, and not every day. I may go a week without, but then a week I'm loaded, and um, just being more conscious of how I'm always thinking about how am I being experienced?
mm,
How am I being experienced? What is
mm,
someone's experience with me? And if it's negative, then I'm talking to me like, what happened here? How did I do that? Am I not aware of social
right,
boundaries? Am I
right,
not um paying attention to, what I mean, societal or
right. You
factors?
were self-reflective. It's
Yeah,
really that introspective. That's what I'm hearing, and that is so refreshing. Again, people, this is why I was so drawn to Dr.
yeah,
Kenae Black, because I was like, sis, what are we doing over here? We yes,
yeah.
that's my life. And because I was when I first started doing this podcast thing, like
Mhm.
I was known as the princess of positivity. Like I would pour positivity into the situation. Like, what are we
Yes.
doing? We're gonna do something positive. We're gonna get something out of this. We're gonna do something. We're gonna see the light in this situation.
Mm.
Girl,
And
yes.
you embodied that when we met, even virtually. I was like, oh, her spirit. You are light. So yeah. So you embody everything you're saying.
Thank
You
you.
it's just you.
Girl, but that has been a journey too in itself. We're gonna talk about that later because that is, that really comes with one a relationship with God. Because you
Absolutely.
can see that, like, yeah, but we'll talk about that later, guys. Please don't let me start. Y'all know it'll be. Don't forget to get your notebooks and your pencils and pads, okay, guys? Because just in case you have any questions or you hear anything that just make you say, "Oh, that was good." So, all right. All right. So you say that you do that for a lot of people, and so I'm gonna ask you this question because I find it's sometimes, how do you deal with people who have a different perception, who it's very hard for them to see the light, even if you like, how do you deal with those types of situations?
I just don't let up. I think that's the piece of it, in terms of like I don't make it, sometimes as we talked about, like that energy could start laying on you, right? Um,
Right, right.
but I think being very intentional about what energy you allow to lay on you. But I don't let up. Like I don't allow that to change me. Like, I
Mm.
understand that's not your ideology, but I only you asking me, so I only can give you what's in me. I only can
Okay.
give you what has worked for me. You don't
Right.
have a relationship with God, it works for me. Do I think that's one? I think God gives us tools, skills, counselors, therapists, friends, teachers. I think that He created all of those. So my circle of care is always going to include Him and these tools. But I can't change who I am because someone else's perception is different. I just keep being who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, a wise person told me that when you're around people, either they're gonna be with you on or you're gonna be with they on.
That
And
part.
I say it very in that way to emphasize the point. So I'm not going to be what you want. I'm not going to inhabit that negative mindset. I'm not going to think it's doom and gloom. I'm going to say it's dark, but it's going to be light. Like that's just
Mhm.
it, you know. So I
Right.
think just being consistent in who you are.
Yeah, that is definitely key. That weathering the storm story. When and I think to attribute to the story, you know, for those who do not know, like she said, she grew up in the hood, in the
Mhm.
projects, and it was rough and tough out here in these streets, and everybody's story is different, but who's it was hard.
Yeah, yeah,
Period. So, it could be different. You could look at things and think that, uh oh, you can. I'm sorry.
that's all
This
right.
person is under the house of people. Um, you can literally be in situations. You know what I'm saying. You saw light in positive situations that allow you to get out of situations.
Mhm,
You know, and I think a lot of times people aren't able to see beyond their situations. So you being the light, you being consistent, or being continue to stand forth with what you believe
mhm.
is key, because you will be the light for someone else. That's that pack the light. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Auntie. I love that. I love that. Let's see. So little adversity. So when have you experienced the law of cause and effect in your life?
Mm.
When?
Oh,
Mhm.
baby. I don't think you have enough time for that.
Well, listen, we got some time. We can go. We got some time.
Um, I think let me add this was very critical for me. While I grew up in the projects, it was very enriching. I had a good time.
Hmm.
I've always had older friends. I've always been the youngest out of my friends growing up. Like literally, I can't even to this day I can't even believe they was letting me hang with them because I was, younger than them. And because of that, I was exposed to a lot of different situations.
Hmm.
Um, and gain wisdom from it, right, wrong, or indifferent, made some not so good decisions, made some decent decisions, but I gained a lot of wisdom from not only my personal circumstances, but those of the people in my life who have since become family. Um, and so that cause and effect was really early. You do something stupid like, oh, I'm going to the store with some friends. They shoplifting. I'm green. I'm naive. The effect is we all about to be in cuffs underage.
I'm sorry.
The additional effect is
Woo.
and that's on you. Don't have
Yeah.
them call me.
Hmm.
So I think having
Hmm.
experiences like that early on, in
Hmm.
terms of cause and effect, and making it very clear that my decisions and my choices are mine, but they will affect the trajectory, of my life, of my upbringing. So it helped having experienced that earlier me to make less ones that cause me so much negativity in terms of my trajectory. Um,
Hmm.
and definitely less ones to get caught too.
Right, definitely. Girl, that was you ain't never lied about that. That's a great example, and thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
And that's the first time I asked that question, so I
I
appreciate
like
you.
I like
Yeah, thank you, thank
Mhm.
you. Oh yes, yes. As you guys know, it is about time for us to get into some new things around here. Boop, 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 boop. And as always, it's time for me to thank my sponsors and let them know how much I do greatly appreciate them. So, first and foremost, we want to give a shout out to Black Women Connecting Communities. Boop, boop, boop. Shout out to my ladies. That is a collective of women in the community who just do various things and come together to support different community initiatives. And we have a podcast and we do all kinds of different things. We just had a fish fry and we fed some seniors. So,
Nice.
yes, so all kinds of great things. So, shout out to Black Women Connecting Communities. CourtlandJones.com, who was my guest last week and who is my book coach and who will be my new co host for a new Saturday IG Live that will be starting in October called Speak Life. So check him out. Thank you, Cortland, for the books. I owe you some pictures, by the way. So make sure you visit www.courtlandjones.com for more information. And shout out to Wow Radio, who is a sponsor of introducing and syndicates this show every Monday on audio podcast. So if you miss any of our shows, you can go back and listen to them on all of these platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spreaker. And they rebroadcast every Monday at 9 a.m. So make sure you check out Wow Radio. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Super Radio, who also replays our show. So you make sure you check him out. Also, love independent radio, love independent, outlets that allow us to, spread the word, even if it's piece by piece,
Yes.
one by one. So I appreciate it. And the last but not least, Sharon Lee on the Run would like to thank you for being a sponsor. You are the reason why we are here today, actually, because like I said before, had it not been for me engineering that show, I would not have been behind the set, behind the scenes, and to hear Dr. Kenae Black, her story, and just to hear who she was and just to see her light, so I appreciate that. And don't forget, the now ninth annual Rosa Annual Leading Within Conference is happening actually this weekend. So make sure that you check it out. You can scan this QR code right here. And get your tickets and sign up RSVP. There's going to be a comedy show. It's going to be litty, like they say. Okay. That's what they say. And shout out to the Turners. This is the Tony Turner Unleashed product line. They use natural hair products infused with botanical oils and stuff like that. Is wonderful. So make sure you check them out. And go back and check out the episode where I had them on Teamwork Makes the Dream Work. I definitely appreciate them. Yes. And we cannot forget our artists. We have several art pieces that are still available. You can reach out to me if you're interested. This is Bridge of Tears by Art of Hardy. And this is the Edmund Pettus Bridge. This was a repainting, uh, his interpretation of Bloody Sunday. He was 10 years old and he actually was there that day. So he saw this vision in his head, and this is what he put on paper, on canvas. And this is called Wet Nurse, which is another powerful piece, which symbolizing the Black woman as the mother of America. Very symbolic. All right. And of course, we have a stroke of art, which was my guest, Montressa, who had a stroke at the age of 33. And literally 2 years later, she was painting. Like, this is the painting. This is a photo. There's a photo on a paint, and she did that amazing. So these pieces, make sure you check her out. Follow her. She has some great work that she does. Very truly amazing story. And again, examples of light. Yes. Because her story is like, I met her too, just off the humble, like, I went to take pictures for her. and you know, she was showing taking pictures of her art because she was like, this is very new for her. And she's like, yeah, she started telling me her story, how she was like working in corporate America, and then she had a stroke out of nowhere at the age of 33 for something that she had that she was born with.
Mm.
And then as soon as she had the stroke, like 2 years later, turned on this artist turned on, and she could artist automatically. I said, girl, you had that the whole time. God gave you that in the beginning. So you had to have the stroke. So did you, girl? She.
Mm. Wow.
So check her out. Love her. Shout out to Montressa. I want to I want people to know her story because it's very powerful and she does amazing work. Like that's amazing. Yeah, it's only been like 2 years. So shout out to Montressa. All right. So our topic for today, our new way of thinking, it is time. Yes, we are talking about being light. The topic is be light.
Yeah.
And I want to add to that pack light added by you, my dear. I was like, yes, 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 yes. Put it all together, and what do you got?
Yeah.
Ding dong. Okay. I was like, that's listen. So, the be light. So when you heard the topic, what came to mind for you?
It just came. First of all, I just thanked God because I'm like, she see that, right? It has been said to me a few times, and I have seen it in others. But for our exchange and interaction to have been so limited, virtual, and I just was grateful that his light was resonating and exuding from me. That is, and then it tied into, I added pack light, and we could talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
because I talked about light in that way this past summer at the
Mm,
retreat I mentioned too. So yeah, it
mm,
was a good confirmation. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, when I for those who do not know, like when I name my shows, I follow spirit. It's not a preconceived. I was sitting there, I was like, what can I name this? And
Mm.
it was just like light. Be light. Yes, because you were light. And I could see that, and then for us to have like that mutual exchange, it was like, okay, we lighthouses. We out here being lighthouses. Look at us. Ding
Yes.
ding ding.
Mm.
And so that was that like that communication. It was instantaneously, and so that's why I was like, be light, because when you are light, you will gravitate to other light beings.
Yes. Yes.
Oh
Yes.
gosh,
Yes.
yes, and it was very genuine. Like so, so when you talk about, in the beginning of the interview, I would ask you a few questions about like how do you stay positive in adverse situations, and it's like you're always able to see the lights, or always to see, like it's just innately in you, and I get that because it's in me. It's like I don't know how to explain how I'm able to see the light in the situation. It is just something that I think, but what I do realize, and it's something that you said earlier, is that it is a choice. It is a choice because I think if you open your eyes, if you really expand if you choose to say that there may be even a choice,
Yes.
that is the light, but some people can't even see that as light. So I want the perspective in this segment is to kind of learn how to see almost everything as a light situation,
Yes.
even if it looks dark, even if you can't see where it's dark. Just look at the fact that it's gotta be, even if you don't really feel it, even if it's gotta be, because I know it's gotta be has gotten me to some points. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
It's gotta be better than this. It's
Yes.
got to be better than this. And that was me saying, I don't see any other way. Like I
Yeah.
didn't see no light, but I was like, it's got to be.
Yes. Yep. Same. Yeah.
So I just look jump in anytime because uh it's
I
really
mean,
this
eh,
subject really touched me because I feel like like the lighthouse thing, and it was like a relationship with God
yes,
that I'm starting to really fully understand my post,
yes,
as I should say, as to what light being, I'm going to be.
yes. Like post lighthouse, look,
Whatever.
whatever. I think that part, Chris, is super important because um we not, we realists. It's not a come on, everything
Oh,
can't be all good and gravy. I think that that's a misconception sometimes. It is not the absence of darkness, because the light could be really small. We could be surrounded by darkness. We could be walking in it. I think it's the realization, it's the choice that it's not absent of darkness,
hmm.
but there is a light. Like it may be really small, like small as this one right by my finger, right? And the
Girl.
entire space could be dark. We could be going through any storm. We could be in conversation with folks going through a storm, but it's like, but
Hmm.
all things work for the good, right? And it could be the most difficult time in our lives, but it's so many facets to it because number one, we society has taught us to dim our light. And
Definitely.
oftentimes, I am sure you have not shown up as the great Chris you are sometimes
Absolutely.
for others because of
Right.
others, right? So
Hmm.
it's not just that I am light, I believe there's always light, but really acknowledging that you are light and being confident in that because there are pieces of society that wants us as women,
Hmm.
as mothers, as daughters, as victims, as victors, to believe that we shouldn't be as bright as we are. And
Hmm.
so we do ourselves a disservice. So that's another component of light. But then the pack light is sometimes the reason we don't see the light is because we keep carrying ish. I don't know if I can cut ish. That's
YouTube is me on YouTube.
where my son shit.
I
That's
know. Look.
we're carrying too much, and
Right.
sometimes we're carrying and it's getting bigger and it's literally over our eyes, so it may look like so. Be light but pack light, like
Honey.
literally not just carry your light with you, but take us some stuff off of you, carry a little bag, carry a little book bag, like literally pack light as well as pack light, right?
Look, well, there you go. Be light, because that's another way you can
Yes,
be in your
be
being. Be
be
lights.
be
And that is a very good one. And so that's a great transition. That's a great way of thinking about it too. Um, being like not carrying burdens of others, y'all. So that check your notes. So be light. It means you can be the light. That means definitely packing light. Okay, meaning that we're just not going to carry all of that weight, all the burdens of what other people think. Okay, that's a big one.
mm-hmm.
Okay, we worry about what we think about ourselves. Like we really got to start judging ourselves too. Like that is a weight that is heavier than most people realize, and we got to let that weight go. That weight shows up as guilt and shame.
Yes,
Okay, it
yes,
shows up as guilt and shame. So we have to let that weight go. Let these things go. People, be light, pack light. I love this. Oh
yep,
Lord, I
yep.
need I need to take notes myself. Okay. So I want to add. Speaking of that, when you said you do personal development, I do want to talk about it a little bit. What type of things do you do to kind of help people work through?
Sure. So it's so it's multifaceted, right?
Okay.
Because and I'll tell you why it leads back to what you just said about those burdens and things like that. So it started out with just more professionals or folks that was looking to either develop their professional selves, and we know sometimes that personal work is a piece of most times actually it has been in my experience like more developing um individuals, women specifically, personally than it has been professionally. Because it's like, wait a minute, this is what's holding you back from that, right?
Mhm.
You thinking everybody's talking about you. You thinking everyone is against you. These things, or as a result, you carrying these burdens and this
Mhm.
trauma from things that you have been afraid to deal with. So let's get this up off of you, so mentally you can be more healthy to
Mhm.
matriculate in your professional or your leadership growth. So what
Mhm.
I have done some group, Chris, as well as individual like sessions, helping developing personal or professional development plans with individuals or groups.
Okay.
And that's after us consulting and doing some assessments and things, and just getting a sense of the individual and or group, and
Mhm.
then kind of developing a plan based on the needs without the plan being super overwhelming. Because sometimes first of all, sometimes we think the goal is too big and we can't accomplish it. So then when we
Mhm.
start thinking that, dimming our
Mhm.
light, then we're discouraged. So now we can't even work on the little steps to get there because we already think we can't make it there.
Right, we already there.
Yeah.
We done already failed. We ain't even tried.
Can easily make a phone call and do the first three steps to get there, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
so that discouragement is paralyzing, and it has
Yeah.
been for myself personally. So just individualizing a plan, a care package, if you will, and
Mhm.
working through some of those things. And a lot of the times, it kind of deals with like a lot of personal things that we have to
Yeah.
get off of us. So.
Yeah. That's what a lot of this work comes down to, and a lot of things. Like if you really work on those things, these key things in yourself, and really do that introspective work,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, whatever it is, usually you can figure some kind of way out, some type of resolution. You'll figure either I'm not supposed to be here, whatever the case may be, but you'll figure it out,
Yep.
and there'll be some level of enlightenment. You'll be like, aha. And there'll be aha
Yes.
moments. There will be aha moments, and then there will be change. And what ex- I would encourage people to think about though is as you're moving through these layers, like, because it's literally layers. Like this could be a layered process.
Mhm. Yeah.
Understand that. Like you can't go through this one time and be like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm healed."
Yes.
Woo-hoo.
Yes. Yes.
Because there will be things and there will be new obstacles and and it may bring up some new things for you
Yeah.
that you weren't that it didn't that didn't come up in prior experiences. And so you're gonna have to learn how to continue to do that person. So personal development is an
Mhm.
ongoing process.
Yes.
Hey, Miss Sharon Parker, how are you? I love you. So, yeah, that is an ongoing process. There are layers to this, so don't, because and don't give up, and just
Right.
know that it's an ongoing process.
Right.
That's what I encourage you. So the lighter you are, the longer you can travel through this journey because
Yeah. Yes.
it gets
Uh,
heavier. You got all that stuff on your back.
it is. And that stuff covering up your light.
Yeah.
Sometimes um something I have said to people, if you don't see a
Mhm.
light, if you look around, you don't see a light, that's because it's you. Like
Mhm.
you the light. Like
Mhm.
please recognize that, stand in it, own it, and be okay with that. And if you feel that your candle has went out, why? What is it? Have you been
Wow.
triggered? Have you been
Right.
triggered by something that has occurred that you haven't dealt with? Have you been triggered and you have dealt with it, and this is a new trigger that you didn't
Mhm.
even know? Like,
Mhm.
how are you dealing with yourself?
Mhm.
Are you showing up professionally? If professionally is the goal for you, are you showing up just super defensive and you don't understand why you can't get a break? But people are experiencing just a very defensive person that they
Mhm.
just rather not help develop or go to the next level with. How are you being experienced? And then again, being introspective, that listen, I need to look at myself. I can light myself. I'm a light, right? I'm
Mhm.
a light. Let me light myself up because I need to find those areas that are dark so that I can heal and fix and work through and be better and be greater and self-actualize and be used more and give off more light and share about light more. How can I do that?
How can I do
that's a
that?
like you said, that is ongoing because there will always
Mhm.
be things, right?
Mhm.
But will you
Yeah.
remain light in those
Will you
times?
remain light? And that is so funny. I made a pledge to myself. I said, and then this recently, this August, that I was going to, my new affirmation was that I am so happy and grateful that I show up authentically in
Yes.
all ways at all times. In all ways and all times that I show up authentically, because that right there has kept me, and I have seen, because it has allowed me to, really always be checking in. Is this our, always checking in a very conscious, positive way, not in a just how am I being experienced? Like you said, how am I
Yes.
being experienced? Am I being the light that I know I am, because I know my authentic self? Like, so, that that really, that process is yeah, it's amazing. And so, this is telling, that's why I was so excited. I was like, girl, I can't sleep. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yay! I was
Oh,
excited.
yes. And look, we have mutual friends. Shout out to Adia. Adia.
Adia. Yes, yes, yep.
Yeah. We went to
Yeah.
college together.
Really. I used to work with
Yeah.
Adia's mom and just had the opportunity to love
Wow.
her from afar for a long time. Good people.
Yeah, she's a great spirit. I
Yes.
love her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again. So it's, yeah, I was like, oh, wait a minute, small world. See how these connections are working, how the
I
synergy
love
is here. It's in the building. Lighthouses, we binging on. Bing, 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 bing.
yes.
Well, if you notice, there's more lighthouses popping up. I don't know if you notice it or not. I know.
Like literally, figuratively, always. Yes.
Always,
Yes.
yes. All of that. All of that. The light is so but I want people to be able to hear more about you and what you're doing. So tell them how they can get in contact with you before we get too far wrapping this show up. Oh my gosh, I froze.
Sure. Contact me. I have well, one website is really long, so www.drkenae.com. I am on Instagram at will_of wellness. I'm on Facebook, Kenae Black, LinkedIn, the same
Mhm.
thing. And then my nonprofit email is too long, so email me. Um, Kenae, Kenae, Boyer, @gmail.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. So make sure you check out drkenae.com. All right. And check her out on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. All
Yeah,
right. All right. So there you go.
thank
And run this back if you need to so that you can hear all the information again. All right. Ooh. I love it. I love it. So we are talking about today's topic. Today's topic is be light. That's what I named it when I had the inspiration. I was like, what is this going to be? It's going to be light, because that's what she is. That is who she is. And we recently were on the, I guess it was like the first half reunion for the On the Run
you.
podcast. Yes. And again, I was just like so excited to see you. It was like
Oh
really
my
like
gosh.
sisters. Like, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
and it was again confirmation, because Miss Sharon at the end told you to keep doing what you're doing.
She did.
And yeah, that too, like that confirmation. I know you probably get a lot of confirmation that you are heading in the right direction, that you're doing the right thing. So what is some of the ways that you stay grounded with all of that that's going on? Because it's like, breakthrough is happening.
Yes, I ironically, I stay grounded. First of all, being extremely humble. Like sometimes you guys are saying things, I'm like, "What are you talking about me?" Oh, and that goes back to them in our life sometime. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm extremely humbled. I am um, trying to be more obedient. I won't pretend like that I've always been, but depending more on God to move in ways. And I'm quiet a lot. I spend a nice amount of my time just like quiet, phone
Mm-hmm.
on, not disturbed, literally not talking. which you have to prioritize that because obviously I got a Tyler and two men in my household. And so I prioritize that. I make it very clear that I prioritize that in my self time as much as I prioritize breathing. Um, it's important. This is, I won't be well if I don't do this. So yeah. And so I think that helps me stay grounded. I manage
Oh.
projects really well.
Mhm.
I'm learning the power of no as
Mhm.
well. But I'm also, Chris, um, looking at everyone light and all as just like myself, we're an iceberg. You see my light, right, which is the top of the
Mhm.
iceberg, but you don't see anything below here that I have struggled with or worked through or been healed from or working on healing or developing or great at or not so good at. You can't see any of that. You just see the light. And so I'm extremely cognizant of that with others, that I see Chris, pink shirt, beautiful face, but
Mhm.
I don't see Chris' story before this moment. And so I
Right.
recognize that none of us are going to be perfect.
Mhm.
And I give myself grace because of that, because I'm not going to be. And I'm going to make some not good decisions sometime. And I'm gonna
Mhm.
ask for forgiveness all the time, and
All the time.
others grace, right?
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
a piece of that is just again being more obedient. Like I hope just how powerful you are at this juncture. I hope you do, and how bright your light shines, and that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, Chris.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I like you said, I'm working on allowing my light to shine, not dimming my own light, but
Yes.
still staying humble because I know, like and I know my struggles or
Hmm.
I know the things that I'm working. Like you said, to your
Yes.
point, all that stuff. Like that's why I was in the back, y'all. Like, yes, just what I said. So
Yes.
that's because that is the reality. And what I realized and what I said is that we're all connected and we all go through these similar things, even though her story is not my story. It may be similar. It may have some similar past. It may be on like the same type of vibration or something, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. And nobody's story is going to be the same. But we're all gonna have those things that we have to work through, and that like those things that we're not going to see in each other, so we have to allow all grace, what I'm saying.
Yes.
And that is light. Like when you don't hold people to a whole bunch of stuff, you don't you release a lot when you don't have expectations, because when
Yeah.
you that's you know
Mm.
you release
Look.
a lot, you let it go, and it just becomes, you don't have to react, and
Yes.
it's just a whole lot. It becomes a whole lot, and so it allows you to understand. I realize that people have to do that to me. Like when you realize that, then it becomes different. So it's like, okay, I'll let that go. I'm gonna let that burden go. I'm not gonna be trying to be judge, jury, all that other stuff, burden carrier, witness, victim, and judge and jury, lawyer, and okay, and the plaintiff. I gotta keep all the notes. Okay, okay. So yeah, but that does it makes you lighter. It does it releases a lot. We all are connected, and we all have these similar stories. So if we can all just lighten that load, you know,
Yes.
and worry about the things we can control, that is usually the easiest load to carry. Your own stuff. You
Yes.
start carrying other people's stuff, then it becomes a lot. I said on one of the shows that, or maybe I didn't, and maybe I shared this in my accountability group, but labels are limitations. So when we start to label things and we limit what it is, and then that's when we start to create judgment and stuff,
Mm.
like you said, like the mothers. What's a mother? What is a mother supposed to be? Am I supposed to be like this or supposed to be
Right.
like that? Like what you mean? I am, so we can start to label ourselves in more light ways,
Yes.
saying that bring light to who we are, outside of the quote unquote labels of society, you know.
Mm,
So that's what
yes,
I that's what I say.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So look, we have some comments from the people in the audience. They say Dr. Kenae is truly a wonderful being, and she has always shown up beautiful, kind, and professional. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm,
And another comment is Dr. Kenae, you're beautiful inside and out. I love the way you show others they are as well. I love how you see the best in everything you do or whom you choose to share it with. That is beautiful.
my sister, I love you.
That is beautiful. Oh, yes, hearts,
Mhm.
hearts. Thank you all so much for tuning in to introducing today to join our discussion. I hope that you have been enlightened. I hope you see the light in yourself. I
Yes,
hope, I hope you're able to uncover some of that light that's in you because we're out here. I'm telling you. What I know is, and what the promise is, that He put the light in us all. We are made in His image. He is the ultimate light,
yes, yes.
but He put some of it in all of us, and so we
All
all have light that needs to be shown. We have all have light that needs to shine. And I was singing earlier, and I won't sing because I'm not a songstress. But you know, this little light of mine,
I
that
sing
came
it
to
too.
mind. I'm gonna let it shine.
Love it.
I
I
love
love
it, and it just made me so happy. It tickled my tickled my fancy.
I loved it
But
too.
it was just like, if you feel down, remember that. If just remember that you have some of that in you. That light is, if you can't see it anywhere else, look at look
Yes.
within yourself to see the light.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm gonna let you have some closing words too, man. We're gonna get this thing, we're gonna wrap this show up.
Well, Chris, personally for you, I wanted to say ensure that you just keep shining and don't dim it and know that your power is in your light and just keep charging it like we do that phone. Yeah, I know that phone don't die because you was behind the scenes technology girl. So just continue to exude that, and I just admire what you're doing. I know I'll be calling on you when I want to get from behind the scene.
Mhm.
I'm a little shy in that area, but you are light, and like you said, light recognizes light. And to all your listeners of the show, just continue to never give up on you,
Mhm.
and nothing is ever too difficult or too dark because you are the light. And I say that in all passion and all honesty and all experience. You have not gone off too far or made one mistake too many or
Mhm.
made one bad decision. Give yourself absolute grace. Forgive yourself, even if you have to do it again and again,
Mm.
so your light doesn't dim. Be
Mhm.
light, light the world, show others that they have a light, pack light, don't carry your burdens the rest of your life, deal with stuff. Whether you deal with it in darkness or light, you are light. It will come out in the light. Be light, stay light. um,
Listen, we
but
killing cliches. We they dying. They come in, but they dying. Cause like we're
right,
listen, you better deal with those things because
yeah,
either way they's gonna come to the surface.
yeah,
And that's what I'm saying about them layers, because as you go through things, if you may come up with something that you try to repress because you thought you got through that first layer, but it came up anyway. So you better
yes,
deal with it or it's gonna come to the surface.
yes,
It's gonna come to the surface anyway. All right. It
yes,
just
ma'am.
gets maybe easier, maybe it gets smoother, I should say. The process, it gets smoother. You ride it with more joy. It's like riding a roller coaster the first time, and then now you're like, whoa, you know it's gonna be exciting, you know it's gonna go up and down, but you like, okay, and you did it anyway because you enjoyed it, and you do it, and you do it again. Like,
Yeah,
that's where I'm at now, because I was like, this life is gonna go, I know it's gonna go, I'm not gonna just be stagnant because I don't want to deal with stuff.
that's it right there. I think I'm going and I'm not going over, but I think that we think the absence of dealing with stuff means that we're strong.
That right.
The
No.
absence, no, strong is actually dealing with stuff.
Yeah, face it head on,
Yeah,
y'all. So y'all got a lot today. I'll have to go back and listen to this so I can take some notes because Dr.
me
Kenae
too.
Black dropped some information. Y'all, this has been so great. I've had a great time. I'm so excited to have had you on.
You
And I'm
quit.
glad that your time, your schedule worked out. I know with the kids, I know how it is.
Kids. Ain't gonna be no kids.
Okay. How old is your son?
Or
Yeah, yeah, my daughter's 3.
see, I knew they were around the same age. So you feel me. But you got an older son too, so you've been feeling me.
Yeah, I've been feeling it. So, but he's a different child than she is. But anyway, I digress. That's we're getting
Okay.
into another personal conversation. This has been introducing you guys. I have introduced you to Dr. Kenae Black. I encourage you to go and visit her website www.dr d yeah Dr.
Mhm.
Kenae
Yep.
spelled. I'm going to put it on the screen for y'all so y'all can see it because I just confused myself. So drkenae.com, check it out. And make sure you look her up, check her out, follow her on social media. If you go to my page, you can follow her. You can see her on there. And I appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much for this
You.
conversation.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you. I know we'll be together soon. So until then.
This is introducing y'all. Make sure you go and follow me on what's that thing? Instagram. At Smart Video Girl. That's right. Follow me on Instagram, Smart Video Girl. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go back, share this with your friends, share this conversation, let the light spread. Tell them, because we just want to spread that good energy. We want to open up your mind so that you can think beyond your circumstances. Okay, let's do that. Let's do this. Let's be light. Let's see the light.
Yes.
All right. And on that note, I'm going to take you guys out. I appreciate you. Shout out again to Seventh Elements Productions for intro music. And with that, we are out until next week. And I have a special announcement next week. So, y'all just stay tuned. Until then, peace out. Thank you, Dr. Kenae Black.
Chris, thank
Appreciate
you.
you again. And we're out. Peace.
Take care.